All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Rare Oakleys. Today, we're going to be doing something a little bit different, as you can see from the title. We're not going to be looking at any pair of Oakleys, but we're going to be looking at a display case, in fact, the one that you're checking out now, which happens to be the Double Wide 4.0. But before we do that, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, or what you'd like to see. Believe it or not, we are reading all the comments, even though we may not respond to every one of them. And also be sure to hit that bell icon, because when you hit the bell icon, you'll be notified every time there's a new episode, and you're not going to want to miss any of the new episodes. There's going to be some really awesome stuff coming up. So let's check out this Double Wide 4.0. So the first thing that you'll probably notice about this, especially if you see it in person, unlike the other mega towers or double wides that are out there, the previous versions, not only the aesthetics, but this thing is tall. In fact, all the other cases are 6 feet tall. This one happens to be 6.5 feet tall, and that's because at the bottom it has wheels, which I'm trying to get into focus here, and I apologize, this thing is not cooperating. But it's got wheels on there, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One, of course, is for the mobility factor, and there's another reason as well, maybe a couple other reasons, and we'll get to that here in just a little bit. But other than that, the aesthetics, again, are very different. It's got what I would call a modernized industrial look. So it still has some rivets. It's got the front and side panels here that protrude out, and these black rivets, which kind of add a nice touch. Now, they actually have hex screws in them, which means if you do need to service this unit or do a little bit of work or maintenance on it, the nice thing is you can probably do at least part of that yourself, because those bolts are actually made for the standard Allen wrenches. So that's kind of cool. I like that. Now, at the bottom, you can see it also has a two-tone. It's got the dark gray and then the light gray. On the front, it has 2 locks, and honestly, I don't know why they put 2 locks on it, because the lock on the left is utterly useless. The lock on the right is the one that actually opens the doors. The lock on the left doesn't. So I'm not sure why they put the lock on the left. But other than that, the sides are plexiglass. The shelves are made of real glass, and they're heavy. I'm going to guess and say they're about 4 pounds each, and there's 4 shelves. So you got about 16 pounds worth of shelves there. Speaking of heavy, this is precisely why, besides mobility, why this unit has the wheels. This thing is heavy. Now, as you can imagine, I've had my fair share of moving mega towers and double wides, but this one seems to be heavier. And I'm not sure exactly why that is. Probably the materials that it's made of, but it is heavy. And so those wheels help you to move this thing without having to carry it, if you can move it around easier that way. Now, the other thing that I want to point out with this is the lighting. The lighting is a lot different on this. So it does have LED lighting. You can see it's got 6 lights at the top. It does not light at the bottom like the previous versions, the black towers, but it does have some vertical lighting right inside, and I'm going to turn that on here in just a second. The switch is down here near the back. And there it is. So now it's lit up. Now, unfortunately, when I picked this up, and I just picked this up recently, which is one of the reasons I wanted to share this with you guys, 3 of the LED bulbs are working. One of them you can see is partially working. It flickers a little bit. But the good news is on the inside, on the front of the case, you can see there's actually some LED lighting right there. And there's a small strip of vertical LED lighting that goes on both of the front runners here. So with that, it kind of lights up the entire case. It illuminates it, and of course the Oakley logo at the top is illuminated as well, which is definitely a nice touch, just like the previous black versions. Now, I don't know about these LED bulbs out here. The thing that I'm disappointed in, and I haven't seen this before, but if you look at these and think, well, if you need to replace them, you can simply unscrew them, but apparently you can't do that. The guy that sold this to me took some photos before selling it, and he said that these LED bulbs are actually hardwired in. which means if you want to change them, you're essentially going to have to change the entire lighting assembly, probably from the top. But again, you can use a standard Allen wrench to do that. You just have to get a hold of the lighting assembly, which is going to be tough. So we're in the process of setting this up. We're kind of putting in a few of the new radar locks that we picked up recently and some M2 frames. We got a couple of stands with it, although they're not the right stands because the new stands are the clear ones, which most of you are probably familiar with. I got a couple of those stashed away, but I'm going to need a lot more. So I'll have to search around to try to pick some of those up. Now the other thing with this uses the same key as the previous black towers. So that's kind of cool, which means I didn't have to add another key to my set here. I could just use the keys that I have. And again, the lock on the right, I don't know why they have it, because it's useless. The lock on the left, the lock on the left is useless. The lock on the right is the one that opens the unit, the storage capacity. And you can see the door on the left, it has this hinge which prevents it from opening. Even if you unlock it, it doesn't matter because the right door is the one that really controls everything. So they should have just put one lock, but maybe they did that just for aesthetics, I don't know. And if you open it up, it has two sliding drawers that slide out for storage. One on the top and of course one on the bottom. And there's some extra pieces for the unit if it requires servicing. In fact, I believe there's a couple of Allen wrenches in there too, but most of you will probably have your own already. Now, as far as the lighting, and the other thing I was going to explain as to why they put those wheels on there, besides the mobility and the fact that it's so heavy, there is a light switch here, like we talked about before, right there at the bottom, but the actual plug is not in the back of the unit. The plug is on the bottom of the unit, underneath. So you can remove these wheels with an Allen wrench, but if you remove the wheels, you're not going to be able to plug it in and light the unit up. So there's a trade-off there. And then the plug that it comes with actually has a switch that you can apparently press a button to turn the unit on and off with the press of a button. So that's kind of a nice touch, I guess, but that's for those of you who are 400 pounds and overweight and you can't bend down to press this button, then you can just step on this one. I guess that's what that's for. Well, I'm not 400 pounds and overweight, so I can bend down and press the button. So I keep that other one underneath. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is the double wide 4.0. And let us know what you think. And if you do pick one up, oh, there's only one other thing too. The area between the top part, the display portion, and the storage portion, I'm going to turn this off quickly. The area between the top portion and the display and the bottom where the storage is, you can see there's a little bit of a ridge here. It's probably a 1/2 inch or maybe 3/4 of an inch. So if you want to move this thing and lift it a little bit, although you'll probably end up wheeling, but if you do, this is a good place to grab, but there's not a lot of room there. But I didn't know that right in the middle on the sides, there's actually a hole. It's going to be kind of hard to capture on video, but it's right in the middle here. And it goes all the way to the inside the storage area where it doesn't here. So you can actually put your whole hand here. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because if any of you have the opportunity to get this and you're ever trying to move it, having this area to grip is going to be a huge, huge benefit as opposed to just having your fingers here, which is kind of what we did for part of the way moving it. So keep in mind, you can put your whole hand under here on this side and the opposite side. But other than that, there's your double wide 4.0. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure, again, you hit that bell icon so you never miss an episode. And we will see you next time on Rare Oakleys. Thanks for watching.